Hey, crypto traders. This is Weston Nelson. Trading Nichols, looking as like Weston Nelson. See, Weston Nelson has become one of the DeFi, and the reaction is that I gained his face, and he now looks like Taro because he is segmented onto the blockchain. So
Yeah.
talking out of the blockchain, Nether is Weston. No, I'm logged in as him. But welcome to the Weston Nelson and Trading Nichols. Today we're going to talk with C Money, Calvin. We've had him as a guest before, mod and help over at the Crypto Cave. As always, everything we discuss is not financial advice. We are just here to hopefully educate and entertain and help you with your DeFi goals. So,
I'm pumped.
awesome. Do you have anything for us to start with there, Weston?
Yeah, well, we're talking about DeFi, yield farming, crypto. I know Calvin was. I gotta say, C Money. It just sounds so much better. I know C Money was talking about. Okay, he's ready to go with Taro, and then we were just kind of chatting like, why don't we just hop on a live, because we were actually talking about earlier today, like explaining this to people. So it just happenstance that this came up, and we're like, yeah, let's talk this through. So no, this is good. You know how pumped I am about like Fantom and then Taro. So it's a great way to I think educate people, and there's so much opportunity right now. I mean, it's like unbelievable, the yields, and that's why my face is the Taro logo.
It's strange, but I literally have to be using it to believe that it's actually happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because when you hit claim and it's like, oh, another however many Taro you just accumulated, then it's real. But until then, it's kind of like with a long time ago before you were in the DeFi, and you're like, that sounds cool, but no, I'm gonna wait. I don't know if that's right, but you know what I'm saying.
So yeah, I totally agree. Getting 600%, 800%, sometimes 1,600% interest, it's pretty hard to believe. But do realize that to get that kind of interest, it is. Would you call it a full-time job or nearly, Weston?
Yeah, it's not. It's not like passive in the sense that you may want it to be, but you could be lower leveraged and be more passive about it. But if you really want to maximize your gains, which I find most crypto traders do, like just from like the DMs that we get, or people asking about this stuff, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to spend time on it. But if you're trading already, you know that. So is a little bit of your time worth 600%? I think most people would say absolutely.
Yeah. And we've also discussed, some finer moments where I didn't get out while the market dipped 25%, but I was only down 12% because of all the yield. And for that to happen in just like an afternoon or overnight is just incredible. But we can go on, but that's not fair to C Money in his questions. Do you have a place for us to start?
Okay, so I rewatched some of the videos that you guys had posted earlier with Spirit Swap, Spooky Swap. I did end up transferring some Fantom over to my MetaMask, and luckily I was able to bridge it. It was giving me some trouble earlier because I didn't have that much ETH, which is why I had asked you guys, I want to say earlier, about the fees. It was charging me about $60 just to bridge my Fantom from.
That's right. From Ethereum to Fantom, you were trying to get on, right?
Yeah.
And to give some perspective on that, let's say at the time a normal trade is like $80 on Ethereum blockchain. At a time like that, it cost me about $20 to do a bridge. So for him to be looking at almost $60 for a bridge at the time, fees were probably around $300 to make a trade. So that definitely wasn't usual.
Yeah, so I was confused. I was like, wait, I thought it was supposed to be like a fraction of the price, but so I want to say like a couple hours later after I had asked you guys, I dropped down to $10, which happened to work out because I only had about $20 worth of Ethereum in my MetaMask,
Oh,
and
perfect.
and so it worked out. I did start farming some Boo on Spooky Swap. I let's see, I added some liquidity, some Fantom, and wrapped ETH into my supply, and then I started farming for what 57% APR. Uh,
Okay.
I I did get
Nice.
I did get some Boo out of that, and then I started looking around on Tarot, and I saw that like trading Nichols and Weston mentioned, you've got 235% leveraged APR for, let's see, I
The
was
FTM Terra pool, I think.
and then right now for Phantom and the ETH pool, it's 184% APR for leverage. So I was
Oh yeah.
just, I was just curious as to how that works. I did I did lend some Phantom just to see how the interest worked, and so far I've earned 3 Phantom in a day, almost 4 Phantom in a day, just lending it. I haven't leveraged yet. I haven't done any of that, but that's
Just lending.
just lending. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. This might sound odd, but where can you lend Phantom?
Oh,
In the middle tab there.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, on
I've
Tarot.
never used this part. All right.
Yeah, it's like a way to
Oh,
single-sided be a supplier and get interest. It's
so
just
so
you know.
yeah. Sorry, Weston.
no,
No, go
that's
ahead.
cool. I didn't know you could do this on Terra, but it makes sense because, like, here I am over here. This is funny. I accidentally leveraged up my dust. So I figured it was a safe way of showing a non-part of my portfolio some interest, right? And normally what
Yeah.
I'm doing is I first have to set up the Phantom and Tarot
Yep.
over on Spirit Swap.
Or
Okay,
Spooky,
so
whichever one you choose. Yep, you got it.
right, you can do Spooky Swap or Spirit Swap. You might choose one because of the interest. You might choose one just because you forgot which one you were doing. Just as an example, Phantom and Tarot give really different interest rates: 212% at 3x leverage versus 187% at 3x leverage. And these are dynamically changing. The more utilization there is, the less emissions there is to share people around on the farm, right? Didn't mean to click on that. Sorry about that. And it's probably a best idea to do some things that are vault and farm. If they're not vault and farm, they get weird. So
Yeah.
take for example, yesterday I experimented all day long with a very high interest rate. It was like 1,000% interest. I'm trying to find it right now.
I think
On
Shade Phantom.
Yeah, right. I was on Shade, right? And this isn't
Wait.
looking too favorable right now.
Oh,
Usually when it's negative, it's because it hasn't updated. So right now the interest rate's 500% at 3x.
wow.
You could do a 6x leverage and you would probably be over 1,000%. But here's the catch. What are the fees? Okay. So if you look at, let's see if I can pull up the analytics real quick. If you look at the analytics on this particular pair, the fees are really low. So let's see if I can pull up an analytics screen real quick.
I think what Trey Nichols is getting at is so Tarot is showing you these estimated leveraged, liquidity pool APRs, and that's based on data over the past 7 days or something like that. If you want a better look, it's almost like a DeFi little trick that we're talking about here. Is that if you go to the analytics tab of the DEX, Spirit Swap or Spooky Swap, you can see what's happening right now. It's going to give you a better insight into what is actually occurring in terms of volume, which will then affect your gains as a liquidity provider and then yield farmer.
And I apologize.
Total
See,
degen.
we slipped a little way about talking about what you were doing, perhaps. But I am remembering. Are we going to swing back talking about that lending section? So the liquidity in this particular pool is about 1.3 million after the drop. So the prices of these things haven't dropped half, but maybe half of people are less comfortable going in. That's partly why the interest rate's so high. And that sounds all good, but remember, this particular pool is just a vault. There's no farming. There's no emission rate that they're going to give you a set amount of tokens for how many people are in the pool. So when you leverage it, all you're leveraging is the fees. Let's take a look at the volume now, and wow,
Which is still good, but not right, not at the same.
It's not a lot of volume being traded across this pair. So what would happen is I would get slashed. Well, it's not really being slashed. It's just that I was always getting charged interest, right? So let's click into this and pretend with my dust that I have left over. No, I don't have dust left over. It's not going to let me show you. But basically, I had like there's my dust. Okay, here we go. So we can pretend with it from me being in the pool previously. You can get a really high interest rate, not 60, over 1,000%. But with that low of fees, 1,000% of what? Okay, so my borrow APR, 120%, was hitting me all the time, draining away at my how much money I had. While even though the price would go up, sometimes my equity over here would go down 2.5%. And other times it would surge up, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in the money," even though the prices were down, because it was leveraging this really low amount of fees. I was in it all of yesterday, and that's not enough fees to support that level of leverage. So it could be a good pool, but maybe it's not a good leveraged pool.
Does that make sense, Calvin, or is that confusing?
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense so far.
Okay, so like you were looking at Tarot, right?
Yes.
Yes. Or no? Yeah. Well, you were on Spooky Swap, right? You were farming that.
Trace back.
And right. Then you were like,
I was on Spooky Swap, and then I moved my Fantom ETH LP token over to Tarot.
Oh, so Fantom ETH. Okay, so let's look up Fantom ETH and see what kind of pools we can get. It looks like there's two pools. There's Spirit and Spooky. Taking a look at Spirit, it is a vault and a farm, so that should be good. And I have a suspicion for the percent that you told me that you probably staked it literally at Spirit or literally at Spooky, because the interest rates, pretty close to what you're talking about. It's obviously going to always change. So when you are at Spirit Swap, you can set up your liquidity into whatever you want, but then when you go into farm, you got to not go into farm. You need to come over to Tarot and deposit it instead, and it's got to be right. So like this is a Spirit pool, so I have to set up the liquidity pair at Spirit, then come to Tarot, and then deposit. And if my if my MetaMask hadn't yet shown that it has completed, I try to not open the screen yet, or if I do, then I go ahead and reset, because when you reset it, it re-talks to your MetaMask and knows what's in there, so it can give you the opportunity to deposit again. And unfortunately, Tarot doesn't have a lot of active updating on the screens, so you're going to be resetting it a lot. It's kind of a basic user interface, and if I had been waiting for it, I'd be able to deposit it now, at which point I can leverage it. And that gets us back to my play with some dust. I got a penny right now that I might get liquidated on my penny.
I don't know if you will, but But does that
Well,
make
I don't
sense
know.
too?
It's 2 pennies earlier, so it's looking shaky.
Yeah, I
There's
think.
probably not enough
Well,
money there to make it go around and make this really work.
either way, I think you'll be fine. But like, that's what gets a lot of people confused. Is I think the you know, when we're talking DeFi, like, okay, how can you make money in DeFi? Well, you've got LP, so being a market maker, right? You get paid for just posting up your assets as uh, trading fees you make. You can borrow and lend, so like that would be on like Scream or Cream. And then there's yield farming. And the easiest way to combine the two is being an LP and then yield farming, which is what Taro essentially does.
Okay.
So you become an LP, a liquidity provider, your liquidity provisioning. You get those tokens from Spooky Swap or Spirit Swap, and then you take those and instead of staking them in a farm, which you can do on Spirit and Spooky Swap, and they both have great farms. Like if you had particular interest in, say, like getting more boo, right? You might want to do that on Spooky Swap or.
Well, you'd have to. You can't do Boo on Spirit. There's no liquidity pool for it. I
Yeah,
did
well,
create the liquidity
right.
pool once on my own, not realizing where I was, and then I realized, yeah,
You're the first
I
one
might
there.
be in the wrong neighborhood.
Well, I think it warned you, right? It said, "Are you sure you want to do this? You're the first one here."
Yeah, yeah, it sure did. Yep, and I still did it. I actually was talking to you at the time. And you said go for it, and I was like, but it says no.
I'm like, maybe you're a
And I was
trailblazer. I
like,
don't
well,
know.
the fees aren't very high. I guess I'll just do it. This is my favorite pool for a long time. I ran this a lot because they did a really good job of moving together, and recently they kind of
Oh
broke
yeah,
apart.
yeah.
So it was hard to
Fantom
keep the
Boo.
bands safe. See, these are the
Oh,
bands
and
right
this is
here.
the important part. This is the part that is so like confusing
This is
about Taro.
how, yeah, this is how Weston and I paid our lamps for you, and maybe you can not do what we did. Okay. So this is the time weighted price. So basically, how many Fantom does it take to make Taro, or Taro to make Fantom? This is that number that's there, like the ratio between the two. And what's really nice is, say you have a market moment where you wick out of the price that you should be really fast. Let's say we had some kind of monstrous wick because some whale did some weird trade. It's not averaged out there. It didn't have time and weight behind that price, so you're not going to get liquidated on a wick out. Okay, so it's designed to help create stability and not create problems with that. But if gradually and over time one pushes up and the other does not, you can get pretty far off of your TWAP. And how you can tell is this liquidation price right here. Okay, so in red, and it's red because I have high leverage. The temperature is calmer with lower leverage. All right. So
Yes.
potentially I could go a little bit higher leverage. The only thing you can do once you're in leverage is add more leverage. You can't take away with this particular button. I could raise it up. I could, maybe make a little bit more, but right now it doesn't look like there's a lot of fees coming in. So it'd be very, very expensive to lever much higher. It makes a lot more sense to just stay where I'm at, which is actually paying more until I redo it. The numbers get weird because it's always continually updating based on the last 24 hours, I believe, right? But
I don't
getting
know if it's
back to
24 hours, but yeah, it's actually in the docs. If we pull up the Taro docs, the time weighted average price is I think an hour or 30 minutes. It's just designed to prevent a flash crash from liquidating people.
or
It's a really
flash
good job.
buy, right?
Yeah, yes, precisely.
So this is
To
Fantom and
protect
Taro
people.
right now. Fantom has moved up in the last half an hour, 50 minutes, a few percent. And Taro has moved up a few percent. So that's pretty safe. And it's not surprising that my TWAP is staying pretty comfortably in the center between these two. Now, TWAP often starts, this number often starts a little towards this, more towards this number than towards this number. Okay. I don't know why it does that, but it just does. But right now we're close to the middle. Let's say if we got down to 1.1, well, if TWAP was 1.1, I'll have lost half of the distance already. That I've lost half of my safety zone. That if TWAP got as low as this, I will get liquidated. So if I'm halfway off, but I see in my TA that I believe whatever pair is knocking the balance out between the two is going to turn around, I can leave it. But if I can't, if it looks like it's going to keep moving against me, then I need to deleverage.
Well, and I don't know if you did you see, like, the other big thing is it does show the current right there, but it uses the time weighted average price. So like ever since I got liquidated by being like, wait, what did I do wrong here? I just picked the right pair, and then understanding, oh, you have to stay within the bands. I don't think I've been liquidated since, because it you can, again, with Fantom, so cost being so cheap, transactions being so fast, you can monitor this stuff and be like, oh, I got to get out of this, and then you just deleverage and boom, you're out.
Yep, that's right. You deleverage it, and you can deleverage it to the max if you want to get kicked out of the pool. Because, I mean, if you're weighted pretty even in both sides of the pool, then you don't have to do it to the max. You can widen your gap and give you more safety just by saying, oh, I don't know, let's say we took maybe about a quarter of this off. If we took that number to about a quarter of what's left, it'll lower our leverage by about 25%. Or if we want to do it all, it's probably going to kick us out of the pool, and then we have to go back to Spirit or Spooky Swap and get the pairs equalized again. It seems like
add liquidity.
Yeah, because you're going to end up with more Fantom or more Tarot when you escape. And it's really sensitive the higher the leverage, and you can see it in the prices here. So how much I owe or how much I have borrowed of Fantom and Tarot is equal. And you can watch this here. And if these start to get off a little, then you're going to see yourself move inside of the TWAP versus the current liquidation price zone. Calvin, I've gone over a ton of information. Did you have any questions about these, or?
I guess what I was just trying to figure out was, I understand I can borrow, right? And I mean, you did explain the TWAP that I was confused about. So I have to stay within the range. But now, if I'm borrowing assets, right, can I lend that Fantom that I'm getting, or how does that work?
Yeah, you can borrow an asset and you can lend it again. That's not something that you would want to do with this. I mean, you literally can borrow inside of this pool area and repay, but it's probably going to mess up your band if you don't do a little bit at a time. That gets kind of weird. It makes more sense if you were to supply here, and I think Weston, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what he's describing is something that's better done with like a screen.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'd say for this, like for like a risk asset, which let's call anything other than a stable coin, essentially. Tarot's probably a good spot because you can supply single-sided and get pretty healthy rates. But yeah, for Scream, like, on Scream, you can like add, remove, die. I think I checked on die earlier and it was like, I don't know, 16 or 24% still, and I'm just like, man, that's crazy. Just like compared to your bank, right? Cash.
Yeah, it is. Compared to
it's
a
just
bank, it is unbelievable. Yes.
FUSDT, USDC. They were all over double digits, um, in single sided supply of a stable coin. So it's just, yeah, if you've got cash, I mean, to me, it's just like no brainer. Of course, you would be putting it there, right? But
Yeah.
but but yeah, in Taro you can single side supply now, but and that, of course, that is something that you can do that could be very lucrative
And it makes
for
sense how it can be
replicas.
lucrative. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
actually making 1,300% at this leverage, but the borrowing cost is 800% and some change. So the result is 524%. So supplying to Taro could be a very good place to supply single sided, and
Yeah,
because that's a lot of money.
that's the person who's supply. The other person on the side of the transaction is, you know, uh, by you wanting to yield farm, you're saying, okay, well, I like the long term outlook of farming this token, and like personally, which I do, but at the same time, hey, if you can lend something for what 100%, 200% APR, that's pretty good, right? Yeah, so it's kind of a win-win. Like pick whichever option you feel best with.
Okay, so now where if I'm getting rewarded in Taro, where would I be getting that Taro, or would it go directly to my MetaMask?
You would have to, in the let's see, it's on the screen, on the farm tab, right there. So as often as you want, you can click claim Taro, and then it'll cost you, like 0.03 Fantom, which is super cheap compared to paying of Ethereum. And then it will just actually go right to your MetaMask. You'll have Taro tokens.
Okay. And now, okay. So I'm looking around here.
The like, it's kind of nuanced, kind of how we were chatting about shade and FTM, being like, okay, it says it's this, but it's actually what I found personally, and Trey Nichols, I don't know if you have, like, similarly, but the FTM Taro pools are the most rewarding in terms of yield farming, like, by far. So
Yeah,
uh,
I think so.
I don't know. I know it's because their emissions are the highest for those pools, but something else too. I don't know. Maybe there's a little more trading or whatever. But like, by being so like LP on Spooky and or Spirit, and take that LP, deposit it on Taro, and then like 20 minutes later, I come back and it's like, boom, claim your on the farm thing, claim your Taro, and it's already a bunch of tokens ready to claim.
And
So
personally, what I do half the time is I hit my claim button, right? Oh, hold on. I was going to show another token real quick that I've been farming. It's not been quite as lucrative in one way, but the ICE has gone up in more in value than Taro, so it has been more lucrative by price action than by yielding. But half the time,
yeah,
when I go ahead and claim my Taro, I'll split it in two, and I will put it back in on Fantom and Taro. And when I do that, it'll actually lower my leverage. And sometimes that's favorable because my TWAP might be getting a little bit off, right? And that makes it a little bit wider. It maybe gives me more time before I have to go and deleverage. And then the other half of what I do is because I often use Scream, where I will lend something that makes lots of percent. and then when I borrow it, it costs me fewer percent. When I do that, I slowly build up loans as I make trades. So then, over a couple of days, let's say I'll have this insane like 89% loan out, and over a couple of days of farming, I'll pay it down to 70%, and then I'll have a bunch more Fantom and Tarot I can borrow, or whatever other thing I'm looking at that I could be excited about. Maybe right now I'm excited about ice. Ice has been has had a lot of price action to it. Maybe I'm excited about ice, and I could buy ice by itself, or I could go in and have up to 1,000% based on how the pool's doing right now, where I'm earning more yield on top of that wonderful price action. Now, if you look at this, this is quite a wide move that it's making, right? So it's been a little more difficult. I've had to deleverage a little bit more often, but it's worked out in my favor that it's moved more than Fantom because of the price action. And
yeah, your LP has gone up, right? Your LP value.
Yes. So in that same time, so I bought back in on this dip about here, and let's just take a quick look at how much percent it's moved during that time versus Fantom, and you can kind of get an idea how things can get out of whack, because things can move together, but they don't have to, right? So right now, I'm up 2% on my ice position. Okay. Well, during that same time frame that I came in on Fantom, it was during this ranging, a little bit onto the low side, but not terribly low. I don't always time my trades perfectly. Trying to make for perfection in trading is a good way to try to go insane. Right now, Fantom's up 4.27%. So I'm actually going to probably be a little off center of the band, but not by much. It's probably not going to be something that is unsafe right now.
Right.
But that it is a possibility. Ice has been ranging over and over, and if the Fantom keeps moving up, my earlier risk of ice moving up without Fantom might become a risk of Fantom moving without ice. So I don't feel, I don't know how you want to put this, Weston, but I don't feel like this is a beginner's thing to do. You probably want to be good at trading, like I know Weston is, like I know C Money's good at trading. I know they're good at trading, so I feel like them adding in two different pairs that are moving and adding that complexity to make more gains, I think that's okay. That might be more difficult for someone who can't get a feel for the direction of the markets. They might have a lot
we are
harder
going
time.
down the rabbit hole right now.
I am?
mean, no,
you're doing this right.
Yeah. This, I mean, it's the most lucrative thing you can do, in my opinion. But you got to take some time to learn it. But it's confusing.
Take, for example, what was the first way I got liquidated? I didn't get liquidated on this one. It was Spirit Die. Yeah, Spirit Die is always like a high interest rate, right?
Yeah.
Well, it isn't right now, but a lot of times this was way, way higher. But I had two problems. I had a die that doesn't change in price, not really, and I had a Spirit that was ranging 33%. As a swing trader, that's awesome. As someone
but not when you're leveraged.
I got liquidated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that's where those bands come in. Yep. So it's like you got to stay within the bands. So if the price goes up a lot, you're like, yes, that's fantastic. Except in this scenario, it's not, because it means you just got liquidated and you lost your money. So.
Not all your money. It'll liquidate what it needs to. So you might lose a lot on one side, but not the other. Like, Spirit was moving more. It must have gone up, and that liquidated me in my die. So then I had a bunch of Spirit, and then when I put it back, and when I remixed it back to die and remade the pool, curiously, I had a third less money. It's not so curious. I got liquidated.
So does that, the TWAP price, the band, is that determined by how much you're leveraging?
No, the TWAP is how much of a ratio difference there is between the spirit and the die. So you need about 9 spirits to make up a die. Or you can fraction die down by about 9 times to get a spirit. And that's how you get this 0.11.
Yeah, it's literally, so that's the price of the LP. Or wait, am I saying that right? Is that it's the price of the LP token?
Yes.
And by doing it time weighted, it protects you. In
Now,
a sense.
something to understand. Let's say getting in and out might cost you 0.3 Fantom into your pool. Okay. It might not cost very much to set up. You want to have a little more spare Fantom than that, though, because when your band is going to get broken, everyone else's band might just be working on getting broken right now, right? And at those times, it might cost me 0.3, it might cost me 0.7, but you know what? I don't want to get liquidated, so I'm going to pay it. It's worth it.
Right.
Not to make this too long, but Calvin, would it be of assistance to you if we went ahead and set up and add a little more money into this just to kind of show you the process? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I'm sure the audience would love that too. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's new to DeFi.
I'm going to try to get back to Spooky normal versus this analytic page. And I'm going to do a little swap, a little swappy swap. Take a little Fantom. It was a Spooky pool that I have like no money in, right? Yeah. So right now I only have a penny in there. And let's say we're going to add a couple of Fantom. So we need to have a couple more spirit. No, we're on Boo. So we need to have a couple more Boo. And we can go ahead and make that swap over. Make that little bit of trade there.
This is all live too. Again, like this is Fantom. Again, it's hard to, if you're coming from Ethereum and you've been like burned, it's like hard to believe this is real again.
And please understand, these are not ETH. This is just a bug that happens. This is how many Fantoms it's costing me. It didn't cost me 2 ETH to get in. It cost me two Fantom because I traded 2 Fantom.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, I was
like,
yeah. No.
They ought to work on that, right?
Yeah, I think it's a MetaMask glitch or something, but it's from switching networks back and forth. I've noticed it sometimes says ETH. Yeah, no, that's not correct.
So my MetaMask is showing that this trade has gone through, right? But I don't see the Boo available right now. Wait, it is available. Just Boo is way more expensive than Fantom. That's right. So if I hit max on Fantom, it pulls up about 2 Boo. Hey, it got me an extra 0.05 or 2.25% a Boo. Bonus. That should pay for the fee right there because I had less slippages than planned. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and make this trade. Freaks me out when I see that ETH. All right. I know it's Fantom, but it freaks me out. I'm not spending.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing that it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work if like you didn't have it in there. You know what I mean? Like it'll say you have insufficient gas to complete the transaction if you do. So it's like another way to just be like, okay, yeah, it's Fantom.
I was going to add to my ridiculous tiny pool that I accidentally levered up for no reason, but I'm actually over here. So I'm newly on the screen. So, and I saw it go through on my MetaMask. So I should be able to deposit now. I did do Boo, right?
You might have to refresh. I've noticed that Tarot, again, it's probably because they've got so much. I'm so bullish, like over the next 2 or 3 months on this that, and I know the activity on there is crazy. You got to like refresh sometimes, but we're talking a protocol. It's got a $6 million market cap, 70 million TVL, and probably the most useful DeFi protocol that's ever existed as up to right now. It's better than Compound, better than Maker, better than Aave, like times 10. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, gosh, should I just ride these waves down and accumulate as many tokens as I can? Or think about the utility of what it's allowing you to do. You can leverage your LP position and yield farm for cheap. Get out whenever you want. Market cap's under $6 million right now as we're talking about this. And people will watch this in like 3 months, 6 months, a year and be like, wow, this is $40 a token. Well, you never know, but that would be my best guess. If there's no exploits or, major issues, of course, but I just see so much, like, it's my go-to aside from Ice and Spell, which are also very special, but they're also on Fantom too. So all three of those, you combine those, it's like, man, you can really do well.
So we already know that Fantom moved up 4.5% in that short time frame, right? So how much did Buddha move up? It moved up 6%. It moved up even more. So this is something that you might want to watch. I have seen a lot of times where Boo gets a little off, and some people, perhaps interested parties that have a lot of money and have a lot of leverage in these pools, this will pull back and it'll become more balanced. But they can get a little off from each other, so you might want to watch your stuff. Just max leverage basically means it's going to be twitchy. Oh my goodness. You're going to be twitching in this tiny little band, and like any twitch in the market in the wrong way, and you better be clicking exit because you get 2 twitches and you're out. If you've never done it before, in every single pool, you're going to have to approve the Fantom, you're going to have to approve the Boo, and those are going to be typically much lower cost, like a fraction of a penny.
Wait,
actually leveraging up.
Oh, you already did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already done that previously because I've been in this pool before. I spent weeks in the pool.
Yeah, so you see money, you'd have to like hit approve, and then leverage, I think. So it's like three
different
things.
Transactions, right?
Yeah,
I'm not
but they're
actually
all
going to
like
leverage up. Forgive me, I'm not actually going to leverage up $4.35. It is not worth the fee. That would be quite the fee to overcome. But that aside, and that because I accidentally left it on max. Oh my goodness! Look how tight that is. 0.61.
And you didn't get liquidated?
I did not, but I don't want to get liquidated.
No, we don't want to.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, I was trying to see what the difference would be. Okay, I see. It just changed your liquidation price.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the more, I mean, it makes sense, right? The more leverage that you use,
the tighter the band.
Yep. Bingo. You got it.
Okay.
So if it was a pool that I was less confident in the moving together, even if I was when I first started, even if I was crazy enough to have like a 6 leverage and watch it while I was awake, I would come back in here, I'd hit deleverage, and I'd deleverage it all the way every time, and you don't have to do that. It's like I was teaching earlier. You can do a fraction of it, and it'll change how much you are. It'll change the band, because basically, if you say I don't want a quarter of this anymore, then whatever loan value you have will reduce by 25%. So you can feel safe to sleep or walk away or go to an appointment or whatever you got to do, because it would take something very drastic on things that move together to get blown apart if your leverage was, say, 3.
Yeah, which can happen, but much less likely. Like I've been leaving things leveraged like while sleeping or while whatever, at 4 or 5x, maybe even 6, I think.
So like a 3 leverage, one of these things would have to double in price or half in
Yeah.
price, and you would still be
Mhm.
inside the range. And the other one would have to not move at all, even though they're pretty correlated.
And what's the difference in APR in like your gains on just?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not in a full size screen here. I have my habits of looking at it when I set it up. I want to see the chart. I want to see that they're moving together. But
if they move together, that's like your best scenario for something like this. You want assets that move whether up or down. I mean, obviously up, hopefully, but up or down is what you want, because then you're staying within that band the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not getting all wacky out of proportion with each other.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. Personally, I think we got this pretty well wrapped up. That was a how-to all the way through. I believe.
Yeah, it's a complicated. I mean, this is like DeFi deep dive. Really, it's you can't just. I mean, there's a lot of people that like want to know this stuff, and I'd say join the community if like it's something you want to like learn about. Right, that's kind of what we're trying to teach, and it's there's no what's the saying? It's like there's no free lunch or whatever the word is. Like you do got to spend a little time on this if you want to take advantage of it. But that's as it should be, because there's significant rewards for those who are doing it right now. And it's hard to believe, but when you do it and you see it, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, talk about an opportunity. So, yeah.
Sorry, Weston, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I did have a question. Again, on the tarot site, I was looking at Bounty, and I was checking it out, and it was saying reinvest for a lot of these pending rewards. So, what are those pending rewards or trading Nichols?
So
I don't know
think
this
you need
one,
to worry
so
about that too much. I'd almost say don't even worry about it. It's if you want to, you can get a little bounty for like compounding the pool, I think is the correct terminology for everybody, by just like if you click on that, it'll show all the pools and then like what's currently ready to be rewarded or distributed to the holders of it. And then it'll show you your little bounty, and you can click on it, but it's usually pretty small and like.
So, like in this particular
not
case,
that big of a deal.
I'm guessing if I set up in this pool, I could get a piece of this pie, which is, I want to say like 20 cents, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like like an extra way for you to, I think, collect stuff. But at the start there were some bigger ones, but I haven't really seen much, and I don't think it's
might
going to
have
be
been a little bit
biggest
more
thing.
about trying to get people to play with pools that they weren't familiar with and get them started. And hey, you get this little giveaway if you do this, right?
Yeah, like help compound this for everybody, and like you get a little bounty. But I wouldn't, at least personally, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I'd be focused on, okay, are you going to single side supply? Are you going to leverage, yield farm? What's your strategy? And then just make sure you're keeping an eye on the prices of the assets. And then if you're like, you got to get out, you just deleverage quick, and boom, you're out for cheap. And that's the beauty of it. It's like not like like some horror experiences I've had on Ethereum and trying to get out of a like Aave or
And that's
You know?
something else to consider. We'll have to work on getting more how-tos up at the Crypto Cave for our Crypto Whispers. Be sure to join up. It's just $49.99. That's well worth it. With all the insights that we're sharing day to day, communities always make each other smarter. But I'm just thinking about the fact that sometimes when the network was really busy, here's the automatic one that chainless.org gets you attached onto your MetaMask. But if you are having trouble, you might need to switch to a different Fantom. Tonight, Fantom RPC tends to be a little faster from one. That's just what I named it. I know it's not very specific, but we can get a list out there. I know you can find it at the Spirit Swap. I believe that's where you found it inside their Discord. We need to get that up in our education zone as well. But the
Yeah, we
idea
can put that
is,
there for the different RPCs. Yeah.
if this one's busy, switch to another one. If this one's busy, switch to another one. And as soon as I got that trick, it doesn't matter what the chaos is going on. It might be a little slower, but I get my stuff in. And I'm currently live streaming, so I have a lot more data going on, right? But typically, my trades are a lot faster. It's just, my computer's prioritizing, sharing this visual feed and voices and all that for y'all to see. So,
yeah, no, that is a total DeFi secret understanding. So RPC is a remote procedure call. Basically, it just allows you to. That's how you're connecting to the node, the blockchain. It's how you're interacting with it. Basically, is all you got to worry about. All you got to know. And it's a URL that is supplied to you, and there are multiple different ones. And if you have let's say 4 or 5, and there's a ton of congestion on a network because people are freaking out, FOMOing in or out, and you can't get out, well, you can switch that. And then when you've switched it, you'll find, oh, there's no activity here. Boom, your stuff goes through right away. And you just saved yourself from disaster. So I've used that on multiple occasions.
Of Fantom, right? Part of the reason why we're able to do that is because you can focus on a different node, and different nodes can do transactions at the same time while still maintaining the Fantom network, right? At least that's my theory. Maybe I'm sharing Fantom theory, but not sharing how RPCs work. I'm not sure.
No. Well, I think you're getting into more like the consensus mechanism of not being complete, but not yet, what's the word? Complete, but not yet recognized by everybody, and that's a little different. Whereas, you could do the same thing that we're talking about with multiple RPCs on, say, Polygon. I've done that a bunch of times. Added a bunch of different RPCs, and when everybody's freaking out trying to get out of a crashing token, and the trades just won't go through. Well, you switch to a underutilized RPC, and then boop, you're out. And that's a total DeFi just secret, but you'd have to know that to take advantage of it. So yeah, not to overcomplicate things. I mean, we are going down the DeFi guys rabbit hole here, but
yeah, Steve calls us the DeFi guys. We still didn't get put out the video that inspired him to call us that. Someone was showing their wallet for part of it, so I got to hide that.
Yes, we will.
Busting your chain there.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, we will get that out, and no, I mean, this is good stuff. Is this helpful, Calvin? I mean,
this is very helpful. I'm sorry, I'm actually watching the charts now.
You're leveraging up and going in and out while we're talking.
That's exactly what I was doing.
We'll let you get to that. We won't distract you making your C money for C money.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm in. Boom. He's already probably claiming tokens as we're talking here.
So again, watch out for the ones that just say vault. You without the farming, you could lose money on the leverage versus how many fees are going through them. Not that that would happen on this one. I just believe that's the case for Shade because there wasn't a lot of fees. Maybe there's more fees going on Scream. I hope there would be. This could be a hidden gem. I'm actually quite surprised how high the fees are when I interact with my screen pool. And please understand, I'm complaining about nothing in comparison to Ethereum.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just pay attention to it, and hopefully it's valuable to you. Of course, I mean, if you've been watching us, obviously, I would assume it is, and share out our stuff to other people who are looking into DeFi. We know so many people have questions about DeFi. It's complicated. It's not rocket science. You just have to learn it. And you've got people like us here who like talking about it, like teaching it. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Come join us in Discord, or just get on the yield farming. Get your tractor out and start farming.
And I know we talk about it a lot because it's new to me and I'm excited about it. And obviously it's new to Calvin as well. But we do have a lot to offer outside of it. We teach TA. We share ideas fundamentally. There's just intel that you can get there that you may not find anywhere else because that's the power of the community. We have some very intelligent people there. I don't think we should let this go too much further. We've already gone an hour into the middle of the night. Some people might expect me to see me tomorrow morning. Don't know about you guys. But we're the DeFi guys. Be sure to check out their most related video that's going to pop up after this. Be sure to click on Weston's face. Go ahead and slap him with your mouse. Subscribe. And forget all of that. Forget the like. Forget everything. If you just come and join the Crypto Cave.
Yes, well said. Love it. Great chatting with you guys.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the help.
Fun.
All right. I don't know how to do the fancy. I don't know how to do the fancy and you do, so I might just unceremoniously hit the end stream.
I think you can do the graphics thing and hit
I found it.
Segue us out.
All right. Trade safe.
Okay. All right. Trade safe.
Peace.